All right, I'm going to give this a go. I really hope I have the courage to post this after it's done. I've wanted to do it for a while, and the way I wanted to do it is not the way I'm going to do it here because my biggest thing about what people are posting on Facebook about their music is enforcing the idea of consumerism, and that I have a problem with. I think that we can find music without being consumers, especially in this day and age, and I don't want to reinforce that. Now, the problem that I run into there is that I do believe that the artists should get money, but the way that the money is being distributed to them is pathetic. They're not getting what they should be getting, and you got producers out there that can go out there and yacht like David Geffen and do his own thing during this pandemic, while the people he probably sponsored and promoted and all that don't have that option, and neither do we. So I pulled out a bunch of random CDs that my cat's about to knock over, and I'm gonna see if we can talk about these. And I don't know what they are. All my stuff's random. I've lost a lot of CDs, and I'm scared to even know what I lost because I know that I lost a lot of the Latin stuff, and that's the stuff I like the most. And a lot of the stuff that I had uh, was, it was priceless to me, but it was actually worth money because a lot of it was the Fania reissues that came out in the between 2000 and 2010, and that stuff is worth something. Of course, it's worth something more to me, but it is what it is. So, this cat, every time I do something on this chair, this cat wants to bother me, but it is what it is. Let's get started. Oh, Jack Costanza. This CD is good. I don't know if it's really that good. He's one of these guys that did stuff back in the late 60s, early 70s that was bombo, that was just absolutely terrific. This stuff is more Latin jazz, but it's good, and there's always something to dance to on these. I've got a couple of them that are from this era, the late 90s, early 2000s era. Don't listen to it a lot. Uh, some Christian stuff. I don't know how I ended up with that. Part two of the Christian stuff. I don't know. At one point in time, I probably liked it. Probably thought it was worth something, which it may be good. I don't know. I haven't listened to it in ages. Blueprint by Jay Z. I don't remember what this album sounds like. I listen to rap. I like Jay Z, but I don't know what this sounds like. Just off the top of my head, there's so much hip hop out there that it's really hard to know what something sounds like unless I actually listen to it. What was the one that I really liked by him? Uh, it's got the word black in it. That's good, but I can't remember what the name of that album is actually. But it's black and it's got the word black in the title. Kiss, Rock and Roll Over. I don't like Kiss. There's a couple songs by them I like. There's a couple albums by them I like, but overall the misogyny of it is really troublesome. It's really dumbed down music. They have an interesting uh, on YouTube. They have an interesting interview with them, and I think Ace Frehley's fairly high in that interview, and it's comical. It's the Tom Snyder, the guy interviewing them's Tom Snyder. I don't remember what this album sounds like. This is Crystal Ball by Styx. Styx' first three or four albums, the Wood Nickel albums, are actually really good. Paradise Theater is my favorite album by them. I respect them; they're good. They do some interesting stuff, and they were a little bit prog in the beginning, which that's what more I gravitate for when it comes to rock and roll. The Doors, best of. Okay, is this good? Is this bad? It is what it is. It's the problem with them is I have a tendency to really like what albums sound like, and um, they don't make they make albums where not all the songs are good, and that always bothers me. Now it's something I really listened to a lot when I was a kid, and something that I learned just recently is that the Doors movie, which I really like the Doors movie. I know it's not completely accurate as far as historical wise. There's a lot of things out of place, like when JFK got shot was the wrong year and things like that. But Val Kilmer actually sang those songs. They were not dubbed by anybody, and they weren't Jim Morrison singing them. This is a burn of something that was made by some people. It's Mambo Rico. It was made by a dance company out of New York. It wasn't what I thought it'd be, but it is decent enough. Opeth Damnation. I like their newer stuff better. Their new album is spectacular. What's the name of it? What's the name of it? I can't pronounce it because it's in a different language. And the CD itself, I don't have the CD. I downloaded it. Like I say, I'm trying to thwart consumerism. The CD is the one that's sung in Swedish. That one, that version is the one I listen to. I like the one in the other language. The one before that, I think it's the one before that, Pale Communion. That's my favorite Opeth album. I've heard all of it. The black metal stuff, it's good, but it's just not what I gravitate for. And I assume that it's Michael Ackerfeld, the guy that leads the band. I assume that it's hard for him to sing that now that he's older. I mean, all those death growls and all that is not something easy to do. So, they're a fun band. They're fun to listen to, and they're very prog. And they got that organ that just, especially on Pale Communion, that just sounds spectacular. I mean, it just makes it that much more better. Is this Enroll Gardner? I don't know what this is. No, this is not. I was gonna say it was that Song by the Sea or Concert by the Sea album, Enroll Gardner. I don't know what this is. It looks like some kind of burn. Another one of these Mambo Ricos, only this is the original one, but you can tell we had a flood. I lost a lot of CDs. This one got water damaged. If I looked at it close enough, I see Leos de Te is on here, the one by Angel Canales, one of my favorite songs, but a lot of the other ones I just cannot read. That was by a group out of, this is a DVD of some salsa stuff. The cover of it is Dallas. I went to a convention there, and you can't see the cover anymore because it's been water damaged. But the DVD is a bunch of dances of them, and it's from the mid to 2005-ish type deal, maybe a little bit earlier. Celia Cruz, Ray Barreto, Alberto Santiago, Tremendo Trio. This one I barely remember. I love this singer right here is absolutely spectacular. Ray Barreto is one of the pioneers of salsa music, and Celia Cruz is, she is, man, I don't want to be disrespectful because I really respect her. I really respect what she did, but she is clichéic in what she sounds like. But I love her. She's just not something that I gravitate towards, and it's hard to find. I love female singers, Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan. I love female singers, female jazz singers, Catherine Whalen. But the Celia Cruz, I mean, there's just those Puerto Rican singers. Ley Lupe is probably my favorite, but they just don't do as much for me as the men do. And that bothers me that it's like that because I love female singers so much. But, Vitology, I don't remember what this album sounds like. I probably bought it at Goodwill for $1 or $2, and I'd be willing to sell it for $5. But if anybody wants it, let me know. I like their first album, 10, in the '90s because I was young in the '90s. I like their second album, the one with the sheep on it, that's like a wide-angled lens. What is the name of that song? There is a ballad on there that is absolutely spectacular. Can't remember it. It's about 6 or 7 minutes long. That song is great. The famous song on that was Jeremy, and that's a really well made song. The problem with them is that they're overproduced. And I saw some stuff on MTV that was it showed Eddie Vedder, the lead singer, when he was young, and what he was a he was a child actor. Now he was I don't think he was a big star or anything like that, but that kind of bothers me when these people come out political and they come out the way that they are after kind of living a privileged life. They're not common people. Now the music, I respect a lot of the music. It's really good, and I respect some of the political stuff that they do. But man, that just bothers me when these people go. Flea's another one. Flea was a child actor, and why these? I don't know. Maybe Flea's not as much political, but why are these people telling people how to live their lives when they are somewhat out of touch reality? Now, Eddie Vedder, I know that the Pearl Jam thing, they kind of pushed through the vinyl stuff when the vinyl stuff wasn't popular, and maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I have my own opinions on that. Original Swingers. This is a compilation of swing music. I don't have my glasses on. Hard for me to tell what's even on here. You know, Nat King Cole. I really like Nat King Cole. I listened to him when I was super, super young. But it's a compilation. I don't remember much of it. There's a lot of good compilations out here. This is a spectacular album. I can't remember what part of Ray Barretto's career this is. It's got that same singer from earlier, Adalberto Santiago. This one has an iconic song, Viva y Vasalia. Boy, that song is spectacular. It's spectacular to dance to. It is just an awesome, awesome song. It's a hard hitting salsa one. It does all the stuff you want it to do. The second song on here, which I can't pronounce, is really good, and it's got a Hypocrisía y Falsedad, which I think is a spectacular song. It could have been a little bit longer, and it looks like, you know, I don't specifically remember what this version of Tin Tin Dio, which is like a Puerto Rican salsa, well, a Puerto Rican jazz standard. I don't remember what this particular version sounds like, but it's not my favorite uh, template for a song. It's just not my favorite. Is it bad? No, and it can be done right. It can be done good, but it's just not my favorite. Weather Report. This is their first album. I think their second album is my favorite of theirs, called Sing the Body Electric. This one's self-titled. You know, it's just okay. To me, it just, the songs are really short. It's really kind of poppy. It's just okay, and I'm not that big of a fan of Weather Report. They're decent. I love Herbie Hancock, but I really like Herbie Hancock, which is their piano player or keyboard player. But I really like the stuff that he did for Blue Note in the '60s, and that is spectacular. The stuff that he did with Miles Davis is really good, but he has some really, really, really good albums, and he even had some albums for Blue Note later on in his career uh, that were ensembles. I mean, just huge, huge groups that he did, and the music was in the political vein. I guess I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth, but he did some songs that were just inventions and dimensions, and those type of albums are really, really good. And he could do, you know, he could do no wrong. He was with Miles Davis. He could do no wrong. Which one's the name of this one? OU815 5150. This is one of the Van Hagar releases. I don't remember what's on here. I never thought that they were all that great of a band, aside from their first, maybe second album. Their first album, Janie's Crying and Little Dreamer, and those songs were so, so good. Now, those aren't the famous songs off of those albums, but those are great, great songs. Why Can't This Be Love was a famous song. Dreams was a famous one. But I barely remember this, and when I was a kid, I listened to the songs on the radio, and I must have bought the albums at some point in time, and probably didn't spend a whole lot of time listening to it because it didn't do much for me. Elvis Presley. It's essential Elvis Presley. Don't know much about it. I like rockabilly a lot. Maybe I feel like he's a little overrated. This is interesting. Kinda Blue. How does that come out of nowhere? This is the most famous jazz album of all times, but I feel like there's stuff that is so much better. Miles Davis is probably my favorite jazz musician, but he has such a plethora of music that you can't really go wrong. You know, if you got to like something by him. He did so much for so long. You got to like something by him. This album has Bill Evans on it. Bill Evans is one of my favorite piano players. It has Cannonball Adderley on it, which is he's buried in my hometown. Fear Factory. I don't remember what this sounds like. It's on Roadrunner Records. It's got a lot of songs on it, so they're probably short. It's probably like a new metal type deal. Don't remember. This is good stuff, but I may be confusing him with a different artist. I'm confusing him with Nick Drake. I know exactly who I'm confusing with him. I don't remember what this sounds like, and for some reason Nick Drake comes to mind, and Nick Drake is a spectacular artist. But Ian Hunter, couldn't tell you off the top of my head. This is good. Our Man in Paris. Kenny Clark on drums. It's got a couple, you know, Bud Powell, but the bass player I don't recognize. Kenny Clark, man, he was in a famous band, and I can't think of who it was. Maybe it was the Modern Jazz. Modern Jazz. Why can I not think of what it is? Quintet, quartet, Modern Jazz Quartet. It's a four-piece, and you know, I like them a lot. But this one has all the standards on it, you know. A Night in Tunisia, Scrapple from the Apple, that type deal, Willow Weep for Me. I remember this being really good. Haven't listened to it in a few years, but I remember it being really good. And Dexter Gordon's spectacular. You know, he's kind of a, you know, in the jazz realm, maybe he could be considered a minimalist, but still very good. All right, a couple of stinkers for the last two. In Excess, Listen Like Thieves. I liked them when I was a kid, but mostly for that famous song they did. The lead singer, it's look up how the lead singer, uh, look up how he died. That's interesting. Firehouse. This is just some kind of poppy type metal. It was popular when I was young. I don't know. Couldn't tell you how I really think about that. So that's it. I don't have any more. I can do this all day long. I can talk about music. Like I said, the problem that I have with the CDs and the records and all that is that it enforces this consumerism type deal. I take issue with that. I have a plan. I have something I want to do. The first thing I wanted to do was rank the some albums, but I would say, well, I want to rank this band because I really like them, and it was all Latin. And then it's like, well, why do these people have so many albums? And then it's kind of like, well, it's kind of hard to rank something that I haven't heard in ages, and then I'm not necessarily too terribly interested in listening to. I'm interested in exploring, but if it wasn't for the fact that I wanted to post a video about it, I probably wouldn't go back and listen to it. That's not how I do music. Most of my stuff is all on the iPod. I don't like, I've got a CD player in the car, but I don't really like lugging around CD players or playing records because of the fact that it just takes so much time, and it is extremely convenient just to plug those headphones on, and I'm portable. I can walk around with it and do stuff and that type thing. I enjoyed doing this. I appreciate anybody that wants to give me feedback, and take care.